Verstappen claimed a record 14th victory of his extraordinary 2022 season after comfortably seeing off the challenge of Lewis Hamilton Mercedes at the Mexico City GP. The race will build as Mercedes' biggest chance of the season to break their duck was instead dominated by the double world champ, who held off the Silver Arrows at the start and then characteristically stormed away. Hamilton got ahead of teammate George Russell on that opening lap, but that was as good as it got for the driver, who now looks unlikely to extend his record of winning a race in every season he's competed in, with Mercedes' hopes of Red Bull's tyres fading away ultimately fruitless. "I'm not sure we were on the right tyre at the end," said Hamilton as Mercedes' challenge drifted away on hards. Verstappen, does have a new record after his 15-second victory. He becomes the first ever driver to win 14 races in a season, breaking a tie with Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel. There's still 2 races remaining in 2022 in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Sergio Perez, who was the first of the leading drivers to pit, managed to extend his stint and claim his second podium in front of a passionate home Mexican crowd ahead of Russell. Russell, like Hamilton, floundered on the hard tyres, but did manage to claim fast that bonus point at the end. The fact that Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc weren't even in touching distance of Russell despite a second stop says a lot about Ferrari's pace, because the Scuderia is somewhere off this weekend. Their normal top team rivals really in 5th and 6th, so yeah, massively disappointing weekend for the red team. But anyway, Daniel Ricciardo did start, and the Australian extended his first stint and ran on softs in the closing stages, rolling back the years with overtake after overtake, enough to negate his 10-second penalty for a Conti collision with Yuki Tsunoda, one of the race only real flashpoints. Ricciardo set to lead McLaren and the grid in 2023, earned driver of the day. Esteban Ocon was 8th for Alpine. No teammate Fernando Alonso had a frustrating late DNF, which has of course cost teams crucial points in their battle for 4th in the Constructors' Championship, and yeah, that just seems to ebb and flow loads at the moment, so that'd be hugely frustrating for them, you'd have to say. But anyway though, back to the battle at the front, and Verstappen's 14th win of the season was one of his most dominant in a race of attrition. Mercedes could replicate their Sunday promise to consistently challenge Red Bull. The start was always going to be key on a track where despite the long track, it was difficult to overtake, and Verstappen, who started on the softs and Mercedes on the medians, appeared to get the best out of the top 4 and avoid the early tow. Russell got away well from the front row, but in trying to make a move on Verstappen around the outside in turn 1, lost out to Hamilton in an extra chicane, while the 7-time world champion forcing his Mercedes teammate off the track. This left the door open for Perez, who gloriously took the opportunity. Hamilton hung with Verstappen in the early stages to hint a Mercedes Red Bull battle, staying within 2 seconds before the world champion was first to pit on lap 26 from the medium tyres, hinting a 2-stop strategy. Hamilton then came in 5 laps later for the hard tyre, hinting at a 1-stop, but then ultimately when Mercedes raced unraveled, Red Bull with excellent tyre management had much better pace on mediums and managed to stretch them to the end. Hamilton and Russell, on the other hand, both regularly criticised the hard tyre, but at that stage Mercedes were already set with their plan and couldn't really deviate. In hindsight, it was the wrong choice, said Wolf. Verstappen eventually won by 15 seconds, and while the only plus point for Hamilton was he held off a charge from Perez, he may well have been able to beat the Merc if not for a slightly slow pit stop, which initially dropped him behind the Ferraris. The other big talking point from the race were a couple of collisions and penalties. Pierre Gasly nudged into Lance Stroll early on and handed him a 5-second time penalty, while a worse mistake came from Ricciardo as he clattered Tsunoda and ended his race. Ricciardo then managed to claim his best of the rest and position in 7th. And yeah, just an interesting thing to note about the Gasly penalty. I don't know why he didn't get that place back, but yeah, he's now up to 10 penalty points, so yeah, could be slightly iffy. I don't think his next run runs out till May, so yeah, that's going to be very interesting towards the end of the season. But anyway, before I go, running through classification from quite a tough race, you'd have to say, but Verstappen winning again. What can you say about Verstappen? Just consistency was relentless. Another brilliant, faultless weekend from him, really. Hamilton, kind of the same, really. Great job from him to come second and hold off Perez at the end. Mercedes, though, yeah, just a bit of a nothing strategy. I just think from the start they should have done what Russell suggested, do Danny Rick's strategy. So yeah, hugely frustrating for him and Russell, but yeah, just didn't quite at the base of the Red Bull, I think, whatever, really. Perez in 3rd, decent job from him, probably will be frustrated not to get Hamilton, but it is what it is. Sainz 5th, decent weekend in that he outperformed Leclerc, but Ferrari just absolutely nowhere. Hopefully it was for just a one-off for their sake. I think it was just with their engines turned down with high altitude, etc. Ricciardo in 7th, where's that Ricciardo been all day? Just a brilliant race from him, sure helped by the strategy, but still a really, really solid race from him. And yeah, I just want to see more of that Danny Rick, please, in the last few races. And then we got Ocon in 8th, decent job from him, obviously slightly lucky with Alonso's retirement, but still outstanding job. Norris and Knights, maybe slightly frustrated with the strategy, but still some crucial points for McLaren when closer to Alpine. Bottas and Tense, maybe the weekend promised a bit two more. I think he's one of those hard tyres runners, but a point for Alfa Romeo, and maybe extending that gap to Aston could be crucial. Gasly in 11th, disappointing not to get points. It just shows that 5-second time penalty, maybe could have done it. Then you got Albon and Toss, solid enough jump from him compared to Latifi. I don't know what he was playing at, so he was worse than usual, but yeah, still. Joey 13th, probably disappointing with the weekend, just didn't have the pace that Bottas has, which is really good. Aston and Haas is nowhere, and Jay, you could say it's not looking too great for them in their Constructors' Championship fights at the moment, both really close. And then Alonso, Tsunoda, I'm gutted for him, and Alonso as well, both having really good races and kind of screwed by issues that really weren't their fault for the most part, so gutted for them, you'd have to say. But anyway guys, that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, blue thoughts, comments down below, and follow and for daily F1 news, and subscribe to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.